What's up everyone, it's Kurofang here with .gba. I'm here to talk to you guys about CookieRun Kingdom Tower Adventure and the latest patch right before Blackberry Cookie comes out. So first off, I want to shout out the devs. They're doing a really good job keeping up with the updates and the maintenance notes. Everything they're putting out is really excellent work. I think they're taking a lot of good things, a lot of criticism, and putting those buffs and changes where they need to be. But let's talk about some of them. So first off, the buffs we've seen for the cookies are for rye, lemon zest, and sting durian. I think all of these changes are really good. They basically buffed all their damage just to make them up to par on the fighter level of the other epic fighters. So really good there. We also saw changes to Rye's artifact just to make it more consistent so she can get her buff online, her max buff online quicker and keep it there. So with that, I feel like the buffs are really good. The addition to Kohlrabi Cookie is also a really cool addition. He does so much damage, and he's very well built. His whole kit is synergistic, and I love that. Like a lot of the cookies we've seen are actually really well built. I feel like Cream Soda is really built. It's a very synergistic kit. Lemon Zest, especially like all of the stars with Lemon Zest, all go hand in hand. And then one other one that I noticed that's really good at 5-star, just because the synergy of all the skills, is Ninja Cookie. And so it's something that's been slept on, but I think the synergy of some cookies could be increased, or it could be raised up a little bit, if you know what I mean, or buffed. For example, like Muscle Cookie, he's probably the worst cookie in all the cookies. Just his kit, like it doesn't really work. It doesn't really do anything. I think like maybe if like it was shield synergistic or somewhat like supporty synergistic, rather than just being like a shield, a meat shield, he doesn't really do anything, right? And so like it'd be fun to make him more synergistic, similar to Ninja Cookie's built. And then Angel Cookie too has a little bit more of that synergy, where like at least he's attacker and healer. He has that hybrid kind of build for him, right? Other things I've seen, like Chamomile Cookie, her 4-star is pretty lackluster, and like it could just be me, but if you're gonna have a requirement to get an increase, you're not really gonna ever get that. You have to be below certain health to incur the buff, right? And so if you have to be at below 50% to get 20% increased healing. Like just give us 10% increased healing or something. I feel like having that requirement on a healer is a little ridiculous, especially because you're always going to get your heals and you're going to be trying to stay out of damage, right? That's what healers do. The other thing with that is that like for raids and trophies, you're trying to get people, you want to heal people, but like if you want to get like the crispy cookie, I think it's the crispy one where you don't get touched, like you get extra bonus points for that. But if you're gonna negate that with a skill or a passive that your cookie wants to take advantage of, then like it's like they can't coexist. I feel like it takes away from the point, right? So I hope to see that change. That's something I really hope to see. Another thing I hope to see is changes to like our healers, and I'll kind of talk about that more with what's coming next. But I want to touch on the nerfs and scaling down the bosses. So what happened before, I think it was around the Shaw Monkey era, it was like a couple, maybe like 3 or 4 raid bosses back. They actually increased the difficulty of raids and made a stage 5 of raids, which is really cool. I thought that was great, especially for like those, like the pay to win, or less, those free to play warriors like me, that are grinding dailies. But basically, like if you're gonna increase the difficulty and then just scale it down, it's a little, it takes away from it. But I understand why, because if you're given 9 raid tickets a day, you don't want to be spending all of your time grinding on these bosses that you're struggling to beat, right? So it makes it less pay to enjoy and less makes it more available to everyone, which is like it's good. It's really good. I think the fixes to like Limon and to like Berry Bat, where there were the time sequences, were really good changes and really needed. Because some of these were like before the changes, it was really close, which it was pretty exciting, but it felt pretty bad when you lost because of it, right? And that's typically not what you want to do as a game dev, right? And so you want to have your players succeed, right? So I definitely felt that change, but things like, I think it was Shaw Monkey or the guy after, typically like, well, if you're gonna make it hard, leave it hard for a little. I feel like it's just, I think it's fair, especially if you're meant to make it harder for those players. But then like this also comes with like the 2 win conditions of the game, right? The game is ultimately broken down into 2 win conditions, right? It's damage or survivability. And for the sake of the game, we've really only seen damage, right? We've seen like time attacks, which are different, but like as far as like raids, typically it's gonna be damage or survivability, right? Or both. But the reality is it's typically just damage in this game, right? And for the sake of time, damage is actually better, and it agrees with like the 9 ticket dailies, the 9 daily raid tickets you get, right? Because we don't want to spend hours playing this game, right? It's a mobile game. We want to pick it up, play, get in, get out, right? Especially if you're the daily warrior, right? Unlike those other games too, right? We only have so much time for so many games, right? But the problem with the sake of time, damage or survivability leaves our healers in a really sad place, right? This is what I'm gonna get back to. And the reality is like, there's not really a place for them because there's no requirement for survivability. Sure, the Eminent Herbalist Garb, you can argue that like the overheal is like a buff, right? But the attack increase caps at 300, and I'm not sure if that cap increases with the buff if you run the buff improvement, right? I don't know if that's actually going to increase it or help you go over the cap, right? So the reality is like, it's kind of stuck in a place where like our healers are just in this sad place because there's not really a use for them unless you're doing like content that's can't be completed, right? That's where they really strive. But the reality is like, we need a little more synergistic kits for them. Or like the next cookie coming, I believe she's kind of like duo. So like she has that, she can be put in the background and then you'll get the benefits. And I'm not sure, for Chamomile, I'm not too sure. For Angel, I know you get the buffs and you keep the buffs when you switch out for Chamomile. I'm not too sure if you heal and then you switch out, if you get that increased damage from the Eminent Herbalist Garb, right? I'm not too sure if that works. So yeah, I think it really does require some thought and some improvement. Hopefully we'll see that from the devs. But those are my thoughts. I'm really looking forward to this new update, and we'll catch you in the next one. Later.